you do know, they don't do effective testing, period. If you want to clear it up, there's plenty of ways to do it. You just hire VADA, and you put the frequency of the testing, samples being collected, and what they test for. There's programs like, I can tell you right now, that Caleb Plant and Benavidez are in a 12-week program where they're being tested quite frequently. Now, he's a PBC fighter, but he knows to ask for it. The A side can demand it. Now, I can tell you another time when Tank fought Barrios, and then they were tested 3 times, and they weren't tested for the remaining month before the fight, and the managers and people were calling me up saying, what's up with this? Why is there no testing? Because they signed up for a lesser program, you know? So there's different tiers. Do you want the Rolls Royce, you want the Ford, or you want the Volkswagen? You see? So sometimes, and they do it for risk management purposes. Promoters do not want positive drug tests because it costs them money. So they'll either have no drug testing, or they'll put in a little cheap, you know, where they maybe be tested once every 2 or 3 weeks instead of once every week. So you got to know the nuances. What is the actual term and condition and agreement regarding how stringent the testing will be? Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
So I do know that Tank has been tested before, but they complained in that fight, and I know this, that for this fight with Caleb and Benavidez over a similar period of time, they'll be tested 8 times. Well, I can tell you this, Tank and Barrios were tested 4 times.
Now, I want to dig on a topic that doesn't really get brought up too much in boxing. I know that recently Sena Agbeko kind of hinted when he fought Morrell in Minnesota that there wasn't really testing, and you brought up at that press conference that the fact that if there wasn't essentially VADA testing or testing involved, that the fight wouldn't go on. Just if you can walk me through that a little bit.
I'm not gonna say David Morrell is taking steroids because there's been no test of him taking steroids, but I will point out a few things. When you hear more than one person talking about steroid use, and at Betco too, he said that he got tested the whole time and Morrell did not get tested one time. That kind of raises some red flags there. For this fight, every time, when these are high profile fights, we get tested because as we should. When I fought Caleb Plant, I signed the contract 14 weeks out. We started fucking testing 14 weeks out. Andrade, same shit, 13, 14 weeks out, started testing. Because they wanted to test me because they said I was dirty, supposedly. Or if they thought I was doing cocaine or whatever the fuck it is. I tested, I did whatever. So then when I get this fight with David Morrell, we knew about it months before, like 4 months already. I had told them, I'm not asking stuff that hasn't been done, but when are we gonna get the test? They kept saying next week. Until I told them, I'm like, bro, well, how the fuck are we not testing when I heard that he takes steroids and, we're already on week 9, no testing. I told him, bro, I'm gonna cancel this whole fucking fight because it's kind of weird because how is a person that has been accused of shit is not getting tested? So then I told him, like, bro, if you guys, we're gonna cancel this fight, I don't give a fuck. And then VADA came the next day, you know what I mean? So if you pay attention to that press conference when I was talking, when I brought up steroids and said what I just told you right now, Morrell took his glasses off, in my opinion, in a form of shock. Like, oh, he just said that. And then fucking Luis de Cuba Sr. grabs the mic, gets up and starts yelling. And then after that, they left. That already, for me, if somebody tells me I'm taking steroids, I'm speaking up right away. Like, man, fuck you, I'm not taking no steroid. What are you talking about? David Morrell didn't say shit. Luis de Cuba Sr. took the microphone away from him and he started talking for him. You know what I mean? I don't know what they were planning, or they have some sneaky shit going on, but they're not gonna fucking play that with me. You know what I mean? Now we've been getting tested every single week. But if I would have let it be, what if something would have happened and then on the 3rd week, oh, now it's VADA test, you know what I mean? And this is what these people do, bro. They take steroids on week 8, week 9. They train, that shit gets flushed, and by the time they get to week 3, they bring in the testers. Oh, now it's time to test when there's no steroids in there no more. You know what I mean? So these people know what they're doing. I'm not saying anything about David Morrell, but that shit was a little fishy. And I wasn't asking for anything that I hadn't done myself, because I've been tested more than Vada than anybody. I've been tested at least 30 times. So how is this their biggest fight and he doesn't have, like, they're not doing Vada? But it was just, I was not going to let them play me like that. I'm not saying that nobody's taking steroids or nothing, but that's what happened. And that's why I said what I said. And that's why fucking, it must have struck, it must have, that's why Luis de Cuba Sr. got up, started yelling, and then after that they left. Because there's probably some truth to it. I'm not saying he was taking steroids for this camp, but maybe they're trying to do some sneaky shit. I don't know. But now that Vada's coming every week, now they're doing their job.